would it be better of opportunity for him to stay and grow and possibly progress his thought process to give him opportunity to change the stigma that he has inside of him.
From the makers of Captain Morgan, come.
The harder move is to say, let him play the game.
Warning, the trial runs of Captain Save-A-Race's Ho Rum has shown various stomach and throat problems. Be wary when you drink this alcohol product. Terence is one of some of the house that is on the save Kyle and baby Kyle, despite everything he's done in this game. Terence and Kyle had a conversation regarding Kyle being this guy from Utah who hasn't seen the world, Kyle acting like he's never seen black people before in his life. Which maybe is true, maybe he really is that secluded in Utah, even though this guy is almost 30 years old. Something I've had to say about this guy so many times this season. But Terence is kind of basically doing what Kyle, Michael, and Brittany have already done, which is use the racism in this game as gameplay. And now Terence wants to be Captain Save-A-Ho, where in regards to Kyle being one of the people that keep Kyle in the game because he feels like Kyle in the game is better for his game, I guess. The only reason Terence feels that way, though, is because Terence has done such an awful job in this game. I'm starting to think that Terence has developed a new fetish, and Terence's new fetish that just really gets this old guy off is being on the wrong side of the vote. This entire game, Terence has just actively tried to be on the wrong side of the damn vote. And here he is again, trying to be on the wrong side of the vote. Taylor has tried to work with Terence from the very beginning of this game. But Terence has played such an awful rat game that he's cut off every single person that has tried to work with him, like Taylor and Monty, while actively working with people who have voted against him, like Daniel, Alyssa. Just a dumb dude. Terence is just a dumb dude. Turner is another one who has decided that Kyle should stay in the game. Turner can't vote, though. He's the HOH. And I had a good comment in the comments yesterday from Picture Perfect saying, "Thank you for bringing up the veto. I literally just commented this. If Michael exposed Kyle because it was the right thing to do when he had the assurances that Turner was going to put up Kyle and that the house wanted Kyle out, he should have taken her off the block. But he didn't. He definitely better be the next target. The reason that it's fair to lump Kyle, Michael, and Brittany together is that they didn't reveal this information for the betterment of the Black House guests. It's usually the way that white people treat racism in the real world, all the black squares on Instagram. But no votes for Congress people who propose police reform. It's always racism is bad for my brand, but not the black people who are actually the target of it." Picture Perfect was very accurate with this information because Turner putting Kyle up really just seems like he's trying to save his brand. He wants no connection with Kyle, but who cares that Kyle brought racism into the game? He'd still rather keep Kyle over Taylor. Turner now becoming another one who's being so against Taylor doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I mean, Taylor has made this connection with Michael and Brittany, and it's become so obvious that they are a trio. So on that regard, I can understand why one of those three going works for some of the players in the game. But for Turner, and I've said this since week 2 or 3 when the leftovers started, that Turner and Taylor needed to make a connection on a game level. It would have worked for both of their games, yet neither of them did it. And it falls on both of them. It's not just Taylor's fault, it's not just Turner's fault, but it's just bad gameplay. The fucking theme I have to say every video now, and beat home how bad this gameplay is. But also, let's talk about production, who continues to not show any of Kyle's conversations with Taylor and Monty, two people in the house who feel very negative about the way Kyle has conducted himself in this game, but they'll show every conversation of people babying Kyle and people treating Kyle kindly despite his racism. And it's quite the big difference if we go back to week 1 with all the vitriol towards Taylor for literally just existing. But Kyle can bring racism into the game and people want to coddle the motherfucker. And the coddling is the reason that Kyle is like this in the first place. It's also the reason that I have zero faith that Kyle will actually change, because he's going to leave this game and go right back to mommy and be coddled by mommy. He's never going to truly grow as a person. The dude is already very stunted, which is very clear, and I don't see it changing because of the way his mother treats him. And I don't think Kyle has any plans, despite being 30, getting away from his overbearing, coddling mother. And with Terence kind of being extra nice to Kyle and leaning into the whole Kyle is naive bullshit, I fully expect Wednesday night's edit to be that Kyle is just naive and from Utah, and the edit will actually try and make people feel sorry for Kyle. I very much see that happening from production, because this is what they have always done. I don't think they will make Kyle out to be that big of the bad guy. This has been their golden boy the whole season, and you best believe production is very upset because they continue to block out any conversations that are negative about Kyle and his racism. But they didn't have a problem leaving in the conversations that went on yesterday regarding Michael and Brittany bringing up the racism into the game, with Terence and Monty upset about that. Monty and Turner having a conversation about those two using the racism as the game. But they hide the conversations regarding Kyle. That's their boy. That's the person they wanted to go far in this game. They chose wrong. It's unfortunately very telling that the feeds, or at least the feeds we get to see, are not really about how Monty, Taylor, and Terence feel about the racism in the game, but of course are more about Kyle and how this might hurt Kyle's life and Kyle's victim noises. It's like, it's not the racism that's bad, it's just bad that Kyle got caught. And Kyle just isn't this naive guy that doesn't know what racism is. Can we stop babying this 30-year-old? Kyle talked about his grandmother being racist. So Kyle has brought that up before. He knows what it means to be racist if he thinks his grandmother is racist. And just 2 weeks ago, Brittany had that conversation with Kyle about the optics of the situation with the all-white alliance, but did that stop Kyle? No. So Kyle has had warnings too, one from Brittany, and he has talked about his grandmother being racist. So just to pretend that this 30-year-old doesn't know fucking racism is fucking ridiculous. Alyssa officially broke up with him today, and just once again, what a cluster of a fucking season, because Alyssa pushed this happening in the first place, basically being a sexual predator. I talked about this the first several videos of the year with her grabbing at his penis. She pushed this onto him, and then he changed her whole game for her, and now she's breaking up with him. I mean, it's her prerogative and the right thing to do, but also, Joseph warned Kyle this would happen. Exactly. That Alyssa would have no problem breaking up with him and voting him out of the game. And that could be the case. Brittany is also still on her bullshit. And this is why, last season some of the commenters wanted me to still talk about the game into the offseason, especially when the cookout was staying in Todrick's house. And I just did not have the energy for it. But I have all the energy to continue to cover these house guests in the offseason, because If Brittany wants to be the victim so bad, I'll give her a reason to be the victim. And I'm going to fucking dissect her every word after the season is over. Because so far in the house, Brittany has zero reason to be her always the victim. She wanted to pretend like she was outcasted like Taylor when she wasn't. She was brought into a women's thing, but they caught her talking too much to other people and caught her in lies. She was her own self-doing with the girls in this game. And her loser mentality always wanted to be close to Alyssa. Well, Alyssa said that Britt gives her anxiety, which is no surprise to me. I've talked about this at least once before. Watching Brittany on feeds almost gives me anxiety. I can't imagine living with the woman. That would be awful. But Brittany's been doing a lot of crying. She's also been crying because the house versus Michael is becoming a very real thing, because Michael has won so many competitions that he's going to be a huge target these last few rounds. It's really going to come down to if anybody can beat him in competitions, however, which I don't have a lot of faith in, because these are the same people that let him get this far in the first place. I mean, maybe he could be backdoored this last week. There's going to be 7 people left. Maybe somehow he's not the person chosen to play in the veto, but that would be, the odds are against that. Brittany did, however, make a comment to Taylor that if it does come down to Brittany, Taylor, Monty in the final 3, that Monty is more beatable in the final 3. So maybe Brittany still has an ounce of gameplay left in her, but she's been so attached to Michael. And Michael hasn't even been a great ally to her, in my opinion. I've talked about so many times how Brittany had the better read than he did, and he just dismisses her better reads. So whatever. But the thing that really irked me about Brittany was Brittany having a conversation with Kyle, and Brittany basically trying to coddle Kyle, and Brittany, being the white woman, speaking for everyone, apparently, to tell Kyle that he's not racist. Yes, let's walk through this. Brittany, one of the 2 people, Brittany and Michael, who brought up Kyle's racism, who went along with Kyle's White Alliance for several weeks, and then brought it up as gameplay to take him down in this game, only for Brittany to then have a private conversation with Kyle saying, "You're not racist, bro. We just brought this into the game because why?" It goes back to that great comment from Picture Perfect. None of the white people have shown to actually care about the racism being brought into the game. They just want to look good. They want their image to look good, but they're still pushing it as gameplay. It's really gross. The season just continues to show how gross it really is. And truly, I truly hate that I have to get on here to talk about Big Brother, and I can't talk about the gameplay because it's ass anyway, and I have to basically become a sociologist, which I am not, and I have to talk about all of these shitty dynamics this season, and I'm tired of doing it. Like, how fucking longer until the season is over, because I'm sick of it. I think Monty, the little we get to see him talk about it on feeds, has all of the reason in the world to be the most upset with Kyle, because Monty did nothing wrong in this game but be loyal to Kyle. So for Kyle to lump in Monty with all of these minorities and be racist, talking about the silent majority, and act like he didn't know things that he really didn't know. Kyle always knew that Jasmine hated Taylor, but why would he think they were working together? And Monty was loyal to Kyle, so why would he think the worst of Monty? It probably feels very gross to Monty that Monty tried to be close with this guy who admitted himself was racist. So, just another gross thing. Lastly, I had some disagreements in the chat and the comments about that if Michael makes the end, he's going to win against anybody. And I'm just not certain of that, because he has been called out for using the racism as gameplay. This is still a jury vote to win. I think everyone has a very difficult time beating Michael, but it's very possible he loses a jury vote. And there's people like myself And I would say if you really go back and look at Big Brother and Survivor seasons, that more than 50% of jurors don't give a single fuck about competition wins. Don't give a single fuck. If I vote on a jury in a game that I've been in an org, I don't give zero fucks about competition wins. I care about their social game and I care about their strategies. So Michael's social game, as I've talked about, it's non-existent, and when he has one, it's to be gross using racism in the game. So Michael can 100% lose a jury vote. Let's not lie to ourselves now. And not just against Taylor. I think Michael could lose to a number of people, if we're being honest, because of the way this week has gone. It really depends on the discussions in jury and who's in jury. Like if Kyle goes to jury this week and he talks about the situation and how long Michael and Brittany were in on it, and Joseph knows because Terence told him that Michael told Terence to target Joseph, and if this whole race thing comes up, it can 100% ruin Michael's chances of winning this game. Like if he's next to Brittany, I think Michael wins easy, but there's other people I'm not so certain about. And I think because the season has been so gross, and because the jury management is terrible and all the social games are terrible, we really don't know which way the jury will go this season. It will just come down to who is in the final two. Anyway, that's all for now. The game's still gross. Production's still awful. Production's still protecting Kyle at all costs. Not protecting Brittany and Michael, though. And, yeah.